Hello, welcome everybody. This is Mike Horner, the Mike Horner Project, and I've got with me today Big Paul, Coach Big Paul, to kind of recap my off season. How's it going, Paul?
What's up, man? Just a full disclosure, folks, don't do what we talk about at home. We're just idiot bodybuilders.
Yeah, I should set this thing up to play my warning before. I should have added that to my intro. But yeah, warning: don't do anything that we say. We're not doctors or medical professionals. Don't
We're
take
just
anything that we say as advice, medical
idiot
advice.
bodybuilders talking about stuff that hypotheticals.
Stupid shit that nobody should do. No
Yes.
sane person should do.
So how's it going, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. So I know I had some pretty ambitious goals for this off season. And I didn't some people run like 16 weeks or 20 weeks or 24 weeks. And I didn't really want to put time limit on it so much as I just really wanted to get to 250 pounds. And I don't know if that's the best way to set a goal or not, but I fell a little short of that, but definitely not anything to complain about too much.
Yeah, I gave chasing weight goals can get you in trouble sometimes. I mean, it's good to have goals, but what I've kind of found, I used to just look at a scale and I think it's easy to get obsessed with the scale sometimes. And what I've kind of gotten away from with most of my clients and myself is I just do the work. I know what work needs to be done to make progress, and I try to progress in the gym. I try to progressively increase my food. The PEDs are a tool in there as well. Sometimes we progress those as well, and just follow the plan and protocol and work hard, and then whatever happens happens. That's kind of where I've gotten to. And I'll tell you the best. I think the best. It wasn't that one season I had the big rebound, but I think the best off season I ever had was that one between Masters USA's and Masters Nationals, and I literally didn't gain any weight, man. I think I put on like 8-9 pounds after that show, and then I just kind of maintained weight during prep.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you catch fire like that, and progress is weird too, man. It comes in spurts, and sometimes you don't think you're making progress, and you are. It's just a bizarre thing sometimes.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I'm gonna take a second and just say what's up to the people that we have in the chat. We have Chris. Hey, Chris. Zionic, my man. Thanks for logging on. And Ryan Parsons. And of course, Amy Gray. I guess I don't know. The beautiful lady of many names who is ever present in our chats.
Mike, what's your channel too? Because guys are jumping in on my channel if people want to follow you.
It's Mike Horner Project on YouTube.
All right, so guys, follow Michael on Mike Horner Project on YouTube.
Mike Horner Muscle Project on Instagram, of course. And we've already got some questions, so that's awesome. We'll get to your questions here closer to the end, guys. Thanks everybody for logging on, and welcome. So, yeah, so we ended up, I think 238 was the highest number that I had on a check-in as far as the scale goes, and then there was a couple of times after a high day where I was 243 or 242. And I'm going to go ahead and share this before and after picture. And this picture in the blue trunks here was right after getting back from Europe. So it's not like I rebounded out of the show and started dieting again. I went on 6 weeks of vacation and came back about 10 pounds heavier than my stage weight, and then started my off phase.
Well, you found you held up pretty good for going to Italy and France.
25,000.
I was expecting a mess when you came back, man. I was like, oh, well, we'll see what this looks like.
Yeah, I stayed on the Retta and the SLU like most of that trip, and then getting all the
Probably
steps
good call.
in. It kept me from rebounding for sure. Rebounding fat anyway. So with 216 was the check-in on the left. That was like September 6th-ish, I think, when we started this thing. And then this was our last check-in after 16 weeks on the right at 238 pounds.
Yeah, for being up 22 pounds, man, you stayed pretty lean. I don't think you've gained much fat. You definitely didn't gain 22 pounds of fat.
No. Well, it's hard to guess, or to gauge how much actual tissue is there until, we get lean again to get on stage, really.
Yeah, because of the water retention and stuff. You don't know how much of it's nitrogen retention and mineral retention and all that stuff. And when you do the things on contest prep that wash all that out. But I don't know. I think you're pretty lean, man. I think this is the leanest you've definitely been at north of 230.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. You definitely made some quality progress this year. Your chest and shoulders are bigger. Your legs are bigger. You definitely added some new tissue.
Yeah, I should have loaded the picture. I might be able to find it real quick, but I compared it to our last progress phase in like January of 2025, and I definitely had a lot more body fat. And we were really struggling. I don't know if you remember last year, we were really struggling to get the scale to move at all.
Yeah, you were stuck last year, I remember, and then we push up, and then it wasn't looking good. And do you think keeping the Retta in helped you out this year?
So I didn't keep the Retta in through the whole. I dropped the Retta when I got back from vacation.
Oh yeah, that's right, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to. I've been taking it for so long through both contest preps, and then B, I didn't want to interfere with my appetite. It took me the first few weeks. It wasn't until October that I really got my appetite into full swing again. And I'm still taking some MK677 on the high days because that ghrelin response really helps me get through the 940 grams of carbs. But
I took about a 8-week break from the GLP-1s, and I'm been back on now for about a month, and it's interesting going back on it. Like, it kind of cleared out the lowered gastric emptying and stuff that I was having, and then I was just having a hard time with the gastric emptying. Was a problem, man. I just, food wasn't moving fast enough for me to actually eat. And then now that I've gone back on, everything seems to be moving well, and response has been better this time.
I got to say that I had a similar response, that the real slow gastric emptying came after I had stopped using it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, it took me about a good 6 weeks to get my digestion, probably about a month, 6 weeks to get my digestion back in order. And then after I started it back up, it seems to have maintained being okay. But yeah, I think the break helped.
Yeah. So we started out. This is of course, this is what Paul sends you if you're a coaching client and you're and he makes your diet changes on this spreadsheet.
Macros.
The macros. This is like and Paul and I did things a little bit different on this off season. He's taught me a lot about PEDs, and I've learned a lot about PEDs just overall, and he knows I know how to put a cycle together. So I was kind of putting my own cycle together and just kind of keeping him updated on what I was taking. And then I just let him make the decisions on the diet, because he's got to look at my pictures and see what's best for me, because I certainly don't know best. If I look at myself, I'm going to think I'm either too fat and I need to start cutting, or I'm going to think that I'm too small and I need to start eating, and I need his eyes on me to differentiate what direction I need to go.
Yeah, my thought process for diet changes in a bulking / off-season phase, muscle gain phase, hypertrophy phase, whatever you want to call it, I look at the starting pictures from the phase to compare it to the current pictures, and then this week to last week. and then I use the scale as sort of an indicator. And if I see weight going up and body composition is holding relatively well, then I'll just leave things alone. If I see body composition starting to decline and weight is going up, then we might need a PED change, or we might need to dial the food back. Usually I'll push the PEDs up. That seems to clean the composition up. If I see guys, and sometimes guys' metabolism will just keep spinning up, like they don't actually gain weight, kind of like what you had last year, I'll just keep cranking up the carbs. And some people I actually have to put in a third high day. Sometimes I need to push the fat up. I don't do a lot of fat in my diets. I just don't think it contributes a whole lot beyond the essential fatty acids that you need for health. But I think once you get past a certain point, 60, 70 grams, I just don't see any additional benefit with adding more fat. And in fact, a lot of times I just see body composition declines when you do that. Now, there are some people you just got to fucking eat trash. I am an outlier myself. I literally sometimes can't gain weight and I have to eat McDonald's every day.
Well, and that's, if you remember at the end, that's kind of what you had me doing. We got up to 900 grams of carbs, 3 high days a week.
Yep.
And the scale just was not moving. I think it was like 226 or 228. And it just wasn't anything happening. And I finally said, you know what, you got to cheat more, eat some dirty cheats, like get some hamburgers in. And so I started doing a dirty cheat, at the end of every high day. And, it pushed the scale up, and I think I got up to 236 last year, but that was not a good looking 236. I was pretty fat. And so I think that, for me, and putting in the extra cheat meals just made me fat ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah, everybody's different, but I would say the large majority of people, that's going to be the case, that trash food is just going to make your physique look worse. And there are outliers. There are those people that have just crazy, insane metabolisms that need that trash food in their diet.
Yeah. So we started out this progress phase. I was at 375 grams of carbs and 45 grams of protein on the medium days, and I was at 900 on the high days, and we were only doing 2 high days. And then we upped the protein, which I think you've had me at 45 grams per meal since I started with you for a couple of years. And then we went to 50 grams of protein per meal, and then bump the carbs up to 400 on the medium days.
Keep in mind that's direct protein. If you count all the trace proteins, you're probably closer to 400 grams of protein.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean it's the same thing with fats. Like you don't have me counting trace fats either.
Yeah, you're probably, if you're eating lean, you're probably 70, 80 grams of fat realistically.
Trying to figure out how to sorry guys, little technical glitch here. I'm trying to figure out how to add you can't drag and drop into StreamYard, can you?
What are you trying to do in the browser?
Oh, I have the picture from last off season I was trying to put in there and I can't
put it in your browser tab, and then you can switch tabs up at the top. It'll say switch to this tab. Zionic was asking, was there any point in the off-season phase that you felt bad? Mike, was there any time that you felt uncomfortable, and around what week?
Oh, yeah. If you, I'm sure you watched, Zionic has watched my video on EQ that I did, where I pretty much went through chronologically, like all the crazy side effects I was having on the high doses of EQ. And so, yeah, there was some not so great feelings around that.
What was going on with EQ for the audience?
So, I started out at 450 just to see if I could tolerate it. I'd never taken more than 300. And so I did okay on the 450. And then I went to 6 pretty much around the time that we officially started the progress phase. And then eventually stepped it up to 9. And the thing about, Boldenone is that it's a slow burn, right? So it takes some time to really ramp up. And about the time that I really started seeing the strength gains and the increases in size from it, I was just the side effects were getting pretty intense. So it completely crushed my estrogen, and I felt like you do when you're late in contest prep and all your joints get dry and achy, and then I have degenerative disc, so when the discs dry out in my back, I just get these horrible backaches, and so I had all that going on, and then I was also that sort of heavy feeling you get when your red blood cell count is way up there, and I was breathing heavy, and my blood pressure got out of control, and I couldn't take enough telmisartan to get it into a reasonable level, and I got a little scared there at a certain point, and went to the doctor, and when I got my blood work back, all the markers were a little skewed, and most importantly, the kidney markers. So, I had to start pulling it out and get those numbers corrected. I ended up at your suggestion doing a 24-hour clearance test, and because the EGFR and the cystatin C numbers were so out of range, and that came back okay, but it was by that time I started pulling the dose back down. I think by week 10 or 11, I had pulled it back down to 600. And then I ended up dropping it by week 12, the equipoise. So, in the past, I'd taken 300, as much as 300 grams. It's always drove my blood pressure through the roof. And I thought now that I was controlling my blood pressure with telmisartan, which I wasn't before, that it might not be a bad idea to try it at higher doses. And I was wrong, and I thought I wouldn't do it again. I would keep it at 300 milligrams though, just for the estrogenic effects, and doing big doses of it definitely doesn't agree with me.
It's been interesting this year seeing the response to people using EQ as their primary anabolic, because I've never really had clients use it before.
Yeah.
Because I think Primo or Masteron are probably better options. But, right now that we're in this shortage, there's no other choice. But I've gotten, well, it's not just with my clients, it's with consult calls. I get to see a shit ton of blood work. And it has been interesting to see what EQ does to blood work, because this is the first time I've ever had a large sample size of equipoise blood work to look at, and I have seen quite a few people with really high hemoglobin, hematocrit, and red blood cell counts. I have seen a handful of people where the cystatin C has gotten pretty high. So clearly there is some kidney stress going on. There's some old studies that granted they were done on rabbits, that show that equipoise might be directly kidney toxic. It seems to be acute, not a permanent thing, but it definitely brings some pause and concern to using equipoise. I'm not trying to fearmonger or tell people they shouldn't be using it, but and it is very, very, very aggressive at lowering estrogen. I mean, super aggressive.
And if you read the research, there's really nothing out there that supports that, but every bodybuilder with any experience with it will say that, and I went into those studies on my Boldenone video, and it does appear to be directly nephrotoxic, which was more conclusive in rats and rabbits than then there's no human trials, but it definitely, I think, is.
I mean, we've seen evidence of it. I mean, you personally had an experience with it. So I would proceed with caution with equipoise at this point. Now, after seeing a handful of people running it, I am personally, I don't care how much I have to pay for Primobolan. I'm running fucking Primobolan.
I'm with you on that. It seems like I can run in limited amounts of Primo without side effects, other than a little hair loss, but totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very concerned about hair loss, Mike. It's my primary worry.
I'm not that concerned about it either, but I did find that picture though. This was last year's
Yeah, you're
bulking phase. At the end of it, I had to been at least 5 or 6% higher body fat percentage than I was or than I am now.
yeah, you're definitely leaner. And what was weight in that one?
I think I got up to like 234, something like that.
Okay, so similar.
Yeah.
Similar weight, but much leaner now.
Yeah.
But that's
which
typically
means
what
that
I
it's muscle.
see is each off season the guys compete, they get lean, they compete, and they tend to go back up to similar weight. They get leaner each time.
Yeah, and this is something I did a little better job of with progressing, measure my progress. I have terrible handwriting, so I use these handwritten logbooks, but they're not clean enough for me to go share them on the video screen. So I basically just took some key lifts and made this little chart.
Look how
I should
pretty
say,
that
I
is.
asked Alpha GPC to make, or Alpha, sorry. Boy, I'm on it today. ChatGPT to make this little chart for me. And, you can see like I started out because I didn't train much when I was on vacation. So I was pretty weak. And you and I trained when I was back east visiting. And, my hack squat with two plates and two plates on each side, and then two 10-pound weights or two 5-pound weights. I call them progress plates. It was about all I could do for reps. I've trained at 8 to 12 rep range, 3 working sets per exercise. And, I progressed that quite a bit, and you see it, 60% increase on that particular lift. Leg extensions, leg curl, both went up significantly, 31 or 37.5%. Plate loaded incline press. If you follow me on Instagram, you see the machine I like to use. So I was topping out at 360 on that one, which was up quite a bit too. So on those bigger lifts, like the hack squat and the plate loaded incline press, my strength went up a lot. And I don't know that's certainly a PR on that machine, but I used to train with 4 plates on the hammer strength incline, plate loaded incline press all the time. And, to get back to that 4 plates on this other machine took some doing, but I definitely, with progress comes size, and what gets measured gets managed. I felt like I did a pretty good job of progressing in the logbook over this off season.
If you have gotten stronger while maintaining your form and you've gained weight and gotten leaner, there's only one probable outcome.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way I look at these things too. When it comes to training, like there's different types of progression, right? Like everybody wants to smash the logbook and keep adding weight. But, I look at it like this. If I'm training an 8 to 12 rep range, which is what I do in an off season, I'm 12 to 15 rep range during contest prep. If I'm training in the 8 to 12 rep range and I get to where I can do, I'm doing the exercise as slow as it's really beneficial to do it, getting that full range of motion, 5 to 8 second negative. I'm able to pause in the stretch position of a squat, let's say. I'm progressing with form, and then I'm progressing with volume. And then once I progress with volume and I can do 12 of those clean, then it's time to add some weight. Now, if I add some weight, I might go back to moving a little bit faster through that movement just so I can get the weight up. and then my next step in progression is to be able to slow those negatives down, pause in the stretch position, and make gains that way. So there's really three metrics by which I measure that progress, and that's load, speed, time under tension, and volume.
Yeah, they're all factors. That's for sure.
So cycle wise, see.
Somebody was like, as a person who cares about hair loss, what would be a good alternative? Don't take
Primo?
steroids. Don't take steroids.
Yeah, don't take steroids.
If you are genetically predisposed to having hair loss, the best case scenario is just slowing it down. And having using androgens is like dumping kerosene on the fire, man. It's gonna speed up the process.
Yeah.
Now you can put the brakes on it a little bit with things like RU and finasteride and topical minoxidil and all that stuff. That certainly I was able to stave off going bald until my early 40s. And that was about the best. And then it was just a losing battle. And I just got to the point where I just didn't give a fuck. To be honest with you, it was too much of a pain in the ass using all that shit to care about it. But honestly, like all kidding aside, if you're really concerned about your hair, probably just testosterone only with a 5-AR inhibitor and some GH. That's the only reasonably hair safe. But all androgens, this is a thing that drives me nuts. You'll hear some influencers say, well, this is a hair safe steroid. There are safer steroids, and there are ones that are more aggressive, and then there's ones that are less aggressive. But all androgens cause androgenic alopecia, can cause androgenic alopecia. So anybody who tells you there's one that's not is full of shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Josh hasn't jumped in the chat telling you to do Tren to save your hair. Sleep at the wheel, Josh. You missed opportunity there.
Tren made me lose my hair faster than anything else, man. That was like I lost it on my head and grew it on my back. I never had back hair until I used Tren.
That's so crazy. Like the hair that around my bald spot is really thick and bristly, like more than it ever has been.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, like all the hair on the side and the back of my neck and my back.
Yeah.
And Josh was right. Estradiol.
In contest prep, I was doing Primo, Masteron, and that's kind of like the trifecta of DHT, hair loss, DHT, and hair loss. And it got pretty thin for sure.
I will say this: Primo, in some people, does seem to aggressively promote hair loss.
I'm one of those guys.
I think probably the worst compound I've seen for hair loss, though, is Winstrol, and that seems to be the one that just ravages guys' hairlines.
Yeah, I've never done it except for like a couple weeks at the end of a contest prep. So I don't know that I've done it long enough to notice any hair loss. So this is the cycle. Normally Paul sends this to me along with the other spreadsheets, but I was doing my own spreadsheet this time because I was programming myself. Before I made some of the increases in testosterone, I talk it through with Paul, but most of these decisions I made myself. And you see by week 3, I was doing 600, 300 MPP and 50 milligrams a day of Anadrol. In week 4, I switched to the injectable Anadrol. And then in week 9, I switched from Anadrol to D-bol. And that was in an effort to bring the estrogen level back up. And that's also the week that I had dropped the EQ dose back down to 600 milligrams. And then by week 12, I dropped it again to 450, trying to mitigate some of those side effects I was feeling. And then I just dropped it out completely and stayed on 1350 test, which I seem to be able to respond well to high doses of testosterone without a lot of side effects. And then I stayed at 300 milligrams of MPP just because I didn't want to want to deal with any of the side effects of the NOR19 side effects, which for me typically is just it's more mood stuff than anything.
Did you like Anadrol?
Yeah, you know, I've taken Anadrol in the past. This is the first time I've done the injectable, and I think there has to be some alcohol in it in order for it to be stable in whatever oil they put it
Oh,
in.
yeah,
So you have that
definitely.
like benzenate or whatever that it's a painful shot. So I kept doing my delts so they were extra swollen the whole time. It was just kind of, but it got old. It got old because it is kind of a painful injection and you're doing it every day. So I didn't do it bilaterally. I was switched back and forth, but it was a painful one. And then, yeah, so that's where it was. And like I said, at the end, I got, you know, the health issues around the higher doses of equipoise really just got to be too much for me. I think there was a question in here too, where someone asked if I thought it was dose dependent, and yeah, it's absolutely dose dependent. The side effects, you know, I think that you can. I'm sure I could tolerate 300 milligrams of that stuff just fine. It's just gets interesting when the doses get higher. So Paul gave me some good advice, though. I always share my lab results with him first thing, and I know how to read labs. Like I can make a lot of assessments myself, but every time I share it with him, I seem to learn a little something. So doing that a 24-hour clearance test was Paul's idea, and I'm glad I did because it really gave me some peace of mind. You know, I was really worried that I was shredding my kidneys on that stuff.
I did the math, man. I looked at somewhere around 1,000 blood panels last year. That's wild when you think about it.
It's a lot.
I mean, I did 3 consults today. I did around 20 last week. Blood work consults. The amount of blood work people that come to me for blood work consults is crazy.
Yeah. So now we're in a health phase. I think this is week 3. No gear. I'm pretty sure that the EQ's, you know, 95% cleared out by now. I feel good. I actually have stopped taking telmisartan and my blood pressure's been pretty good. And
well, telmisartan's only going to address water retention. So if you're not having water retention, it doesn't really have any other profound effect on lowering blood pressure. No, it does seem to have some. It's a partial PPAR-Y agonist. It does seem to have some some protection of the nephron in the kidney, some other outside benefits. It does seem to reverse and prevent cardiac remodeling. So
yeah, so maybe I should maybe just stay on it just because, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there is a, you know, I don't know. I go back and forth on. I don't like taking drugs if you don't have to take drugs, but there does seem to be an argument to be made for using it prophylactically. My cardiologist was all about it. I had some LVH, nothing crazy, but I had some LVH, and I go and get an echocardiogram done every couple of years. Probably should get one every year now, but I had one done about 7-8 months ago, and my LVH had completely reversed, and my ejection fraction had improved from like a 56 up to a 67. And he thinks it was a result of the combination of the beta blocker and the telmisartan. It certainly wasn't from going easy on myself.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it back in. I just took it out this week, so
Yeah,
I'll put
just
it
a
back
thought.
in. Well, if it can reverse some of the kidney damage that potentially too, that's a good reason to keep.
Yeah, there's some. What is it? Let me look it up real quick. But there's definitely some evidence that it is kidney protective.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up real quick. I don't remember the exact mechanism.
Yeah. So now, I mean, more or less just waiting for some clean labs to come back before I decide when when in the health phase. I definitely want to see my cystatin C and EGFR numbers get in range, and then probably ALT as well, which should be easy enough without orals. And what I'm taking right now is a real TRT dose, like 200 milligrams, and then I'm doing before I use a GH, and that's all. And I did add in some anastrozole, 0.5 milligram twice a week, just to prevent any estrogen rebound.
Yeah, it says that it prevents protein loss, and it seems to directly it lowers filtration, it lowers mechanical stress on the glomeruli, and prevents albumin and protein leakage through the urine.
Huh. Interesting.
It lowers fibrosis, kidney fibrosis. Seems to slow the progression of chronic. It's the partial PPARY agonism that does help to a certain degree, but that will help with insulin sensitivity as well. And it seems to lower oxidative stress and inflammation. So there you go.
Nice. All right. So it's going back in. There's actually got quite a few, a couple of GH questions on here. After your GH video this week, how do you plan on adjusting your growth hormone dosing in light of your reading of the literature, 6 milligrams every other day? I'm thinking that relates to your video.
Oh, the Serostim thing where they were taking in bro language, 18 units every other day. I can't handle 18 units. I tried the Chase protocol for about 10 days and I tapped out. I was so fucking tired. I was falling asleep at my desk. I did not do every other day, but it was interesting in that study where it did seem like every other day dosing didn't have that much of a decline in effectiveness and a pretty significant drop in the measured side effects that they had from particularly the lowered glucose control. The peripheral edema really came down significantly with the every other day dosing. And I guess it makes sense when you think about it, since IGF-1 stays elevated for 2 to 3 days after you take it, and the effects of the actual growth hormone itself, the lipolytic effects are more short-lived, 6 to 8 hours, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was interesting that they tried a 5-on-2-off protocol in the study, and that didn't really make much of a difference. So the old bro thing and doing the 5-on-2-off thing, although that came from Dorian Yates. Dorian said he did that because he just simply couldn't afford to take more.
Yeah, it's definitely more accessible and affordable these days. This is a term I'm not familiar with. For lipodystrophy, they use 4 milligrams every other day, and it seemed to be effective.
Yeah, lipodystrophy is fat. It has to do with fat deposition. It's where you get like this weird distribution of fat. Like you have some fat that accumulates in some areas and not in others. And actually, the growth hormone, like if you inject it in an area, it actually can cause localized fat loss. You'll see it in some guys that don't rotate in injections where they actually get like lumps, like they'll have divots. Like I noticed I was injecting it all on my left side of my abdomen because I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I had less fat on my left side than I did on my right.
Wow.
But there is a genetic thing. And then people with HIV can have lipodystrophy, immune disorders. You'll see people that carry fat really weirdly.
I have seen like people who are being treated for muscle wasting, like AIDS patients and stuff, where they get like this weird lower abdomen fat thing.
Yeah, they get really weird deposits of fat, fatty liver disease, all these other things that seem to happen. But yeah, lipodystrophy is just disordered deposition of fat. Is basically what it is.
Yeah, to answer your question, here's Ionic. It was definitely week 9 that it really got brutal. So, but it was also when I saw my biggest increases in strength. So,
You know, I was just having this talk with one of my other clients today, and he was talking about how tired and lethargic, and he doesn't feel a lot of energy and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what it's like when you're pushing food and growing. It's all of these things that we do. Really, when you have the most energy, is probably midway through contest prep before you get so depleted. But all the things that we do to turn on mTOR and lower AMPK are actually going to make you probably have less energy, increased IGF-1, increased insulin secretion, lowered cortisol. People will, when you're on cortisol, you do need some cortisol, but people that have adrenal fatigue, cortisol that you get from doing fasted cardio, say, or sitting in a sauna actually gives you an energy boost. That's why guys come out of the sauna and say, man, I feel so energized. It's from the cortisol dump that you get from being there. It's a stress reaction.
yeah.
So yeah. So literally when you're mid bulk, all of those mechanisms, AMPK is turned off. And it's, just the carbs and insulin being higher are going to make you tired. Yeah, I honestly, I hate bulking more than I do cutting. I feel fucking like shit when I'm at the end of an off season if I've been pushing hard.
Oh, I'd much rather diet. But it's interesting, I diving deeper into the research on Bold and Known EQ. It's the primary pathway by which it's achieves this anabolism is through elevating red blood cell count, right?
Yep.
And that's the thing that everybody, we attribute red blood cell count, thickening of the blood, higher hematocrit numbers. And then, the old bro thing was that we go and dump blood all the time. Well, it's like you're dumping your blood of the exact thing that's actually having the metabolic effect. So there's like, the thing that's making you get bigger is also the thing that's making you feel like shit. You either have to just.
Well, that's why they use it in racehorse.
Yeah.
That's why MMA fighters, endurance cyclists, and why they use it in racehorses because of the increased red blood cell production. You have more oxygen carrying capacity. So endurance, in theory, should be better. It's not going to give you energy, but you shouldn't gas out as easily, and that's why they give it to racehorses. It's not so much for the muscle building effect of it, but that and increased appetite. Racehorses are spazzy and don't eat sometimes.
Hey, Josh, the priority muscle for sure was lats. When it needed to get wider, increase that V taper. I'm still training lats like a maniac, and I'm holding the strength there for sure. Like I was training with 160 on the ISO cable row today, so it's definitely still the priority. What's been your experience with the tirzepatide? I've been taking it for 2.5 years, and I'm finding that calories in versus calories out is more important than strict adherence to macros.
That doesn't.
You have the experience with tirzepatide, Paul?
That doesn't change the fundamental sciences and also physics, so it's not. I mean, macros are just another way of counting calories, really.
Yeah.
But in how your body I mean, I guess it could have an effect because of how energy partitioning is affected on GLP-1s. I mean, because we got to think about how your body really your body has 3 mechanisms for storing energy. And when we think about calories are just a measurement of burning something and how much heat it releases. It doesn't account for how that energy is stored and partitioned in the body, how those macronutrients are used. So, for example, like your body preferentially shouldn't be using protein as energy, right? No. Even though we are measuring calories from it, it can, but it should be used for cellular repair and the amino acid pool and a bunch of other things, that protein can be deanimated and turned into glucose through gluconeogenesis and other metabolic pathways. But ideally, protein is a very shitty source of energy for the human body, even though it does contain calories. So, but your body is not always using it as energy. So that's one thing that you have to consider. Carbohydrates are essentially just energy. Your body doesn't use them for anything else besides energy. But how your body stores that energy is changed. You're on a GLP-1, really your insulin sensitivity should be better. Your glucose control should be better. Your pancreatic function should be better. So your body should be more efficient at turning those carbohydrates into glycogen versus having a shift to liponeogenesis, where it's converting all that glucose into lipids, in storing it as fat. So ideally, it should make you better at utilizing carbohydrates. And then fats are very complex. I mean, because many different types of fats, and they all do different things in the human body. Some are used for energy, some are used for the cell wall repair, some are used for vitamin transport. But I think that's where people get confused with calories. Calories are just a dumb, simple measurement of how much heat is generated from a thing when you burn it. I mean, a log has a caloric output if you burn it, right? It doesn't mean
generally
that
measured in BTUs in that particular paradigm.
right, but that doesn't mean if you eat sawdust that you're going to absorb any of it. Your body's not going to. You're just going to shit it all back out and have a really bad stomach ache.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's the same thing like fiber. That would be essentially fiber. I mean, it would be just fiber. Fiber is a non-absorbable, and I think that's why I focus on macronutrients, not on calories so much. It's not that calories don't matter; they don't exist. They exist regardless. It's just it's more important for us, if we want to manipulate body composition, to focus on actually the calories are somewhat meaningless to us, other than being in a deficit for fat loss. But really, there's only primarily one area that we can manipulate for, well, really two, I guess, but primarily one area where we're going to yank energy from for fat loss, and that's going to be carbohydrates, because your body, unless your diet's super high fat, you can pull fats out, but you can only take fat so low because you need some EFAs. Carbohydrates you can run off of zero. There are no essential carbohydrates, so that's the easiest way to pull calories and create a caloric deficit, to force your body into a lipolytic state. So, but that's why I don't really give a fuck about calories. They're somewhat they're not a good way to manipulate nutrition for body composition improvement.
so
Because
we're
you could
talking about GLP-1s though too. A lot of the research I've done indicates that doing like an elimination type diets is not the most effective way to use them, and that might be more of a retatrutide thing with the glucagon agonist, but it interacts with food and how you partition nutrients, and on both fat and carbohydrates. So I think if you eliminate either one of those, you're not optimizing for the best outcome from taking these type of drugs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that that not strictly adhering to macros, that's not a smart approach. Not to give you a hard time, Michael, but you could, and this goes back to the GLP-1 wasting issues that you see. I mean, you think about how the average American eats. They eat a high fat, high carbohydrate diet, low protein. And what happens when they get on a GLP-1? They eat less of the same shitty, high fat, high carbohydrate foods. And I've noticed with GLP-1s, it's really hard to eat protein. The protein really is satiating. I can still put down some fucking donuts and pizza. It doesn't seem to affect that as much, but like protein is extremely filling on GLP-1s. And I think why we're seeing so much of this muscle wasting is because people are purely just focused on calories, and if you yank all the protein out, and then you just have a high fat, high carbohydrate diet, you end up getting skinny fat because your body still needs essential or essential amino acids, and if you're not getting them from a dietary source, they're essential because your body cannot make them on its own. And what it will literally do is break down its own protein structures for the essential amino acids for the amino acid pool and essential cell repair. So literally it'll start eating its own muscle tissue to get those amino acids is what ends up happening. And that's why, sorry, long-winded fucking story, but that's why macronutrients matter. And I think a lot of these people, if they just simply ate a high protein diet focused on protein on GLP-1s, they probably wouldn't have the muscle wasting that comes along with the GLP-1s.
Everybody that I've worked with who's taken GLP-1s, and this is my own experience too, it has the best outcome when they're eating, a balanced macro approach. You're eating carbohydrates, fats, and protein, and all of the macronutrients. And if you're skipping out on any one of them, the results aren't the same. So I think that, and this is always my bitch with these drugs, and the video I did on it recently is that, it's not an excuse for not following a strict diet. I think that, you're going to optimize the results from these drugs if you're eating, a whole food diet with correct macros based around your body weight. That's just what I've seen.
Anyway, sorry for that long-winded rant. Macros matter, man.
Yeah, that's the summary of everything we both just said.
That was my raging response for saying macros don't matter on GLP-1s. They matter probably even more.
So Aqua Hero's buddy at the gym says he needs to go on trend to get mass. He must go to the gym with Josh.
I just haven't found Trend to be that great of a mass promoter.
It hasn't worked that way for me either. But Kurt Evans said he put on a bunch of weight when he was doing that. So
he was also taking Anadrol with it.
Yeah, NEQ
and testosterone.
Yeah,
NEQ.
I don't know. I feel
like
eating
a bunch of food
is a cutting drug, really, at the end of the day.
I know that some guys will, because there is an argument to be made for Trend for people that guys that'll hit an upper limit of how much food that they eat, because Trend does seem to increase feed efficiency. That's why they give it to cattle, where you get more out of less food. You can literally grow in a deficit on Trend. So I mean, I could see that being an argument, and I know some of the super big open class bodybuilders will sprinkle it in at the end of their off season, but and that could also just be because they've gotten fat and they want to recomp a little bit. But I mean, Trend is a very powerful fucking androgen. I just don't know that you want to be spending a lot of time exposed to Trend, because it's one of those things you want to save for when you need it. Because I'll tell you, Trend is another one that I've seen some funky fucking blood work from. It 100% increases creatinine and lowers or increases cystatin C numbers on every blood panel I look at. It does have a detrimental effect, and I think a lot of the guys that end up having kidney problems were running Trend and Equipoise and things like that. Quite a bit of it down the road. It would be my. So I would say, look, there is a time to use it. It does have a compelling use profile because of how potent it is at doing certain things, but I would limit my exposure to it to probably 6-8 weeks a year at most.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot about just neurotoxicity and steroids overall, because the impaired cognitive function that I experienced on Equipoise was just darn near crippling, and so I've been diving deeper into that in research, And, you know, there is a lot of, my experience also has been that there is a lot of neurotoxicity that happens from long exposure to high doses of Trenbolone.
I mean, all 19 Nors aren't great for the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at your favorite fitness influencer that likes to run a lot of trend and Deca.
Yeah.
They all end up fucking going crazy. Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, they all end up losing their fucking marbles.
Well, and I'm to the point now where, I mean, it definitely messes with my mood, like just my overall sense of well-being. I don't necessarily get aggro or act crazy on this stuff, but my inner self-talk gets really negative, and it's just not, you know, I'm not a negative person. So, but when I was doing larger doses of the trim before I knew any better, and that's when I started noticing the cognitive side effects. And I'm just to the point now where it's like I'm not willing to do anything that makes it hard for me to do the rest of my life, you know. And I can't make good content. I can't be a good coach. I can't show up in my other business the way I need to show up with my brain impaired all the time. So any of these neurotoxic compounds are going to be out for me in the future.
Terrible for dopamine as well. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about anxiety, depression, paranoia. It smashes dopamine and serotonin gets high, and all kinds of fucking mental health problems that happen as a result of that. And then dudes resort to a dopamine agonist like cabergoline to deal with it, and that shit coming off that stuff. It's literally, I've seen people literally have side effects from withdrawal, like they were coming off of heroin from Caber.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, again, another pharmaceutical solution. You know, I've actually managed the mood stuff pretty well when I've had to take low doses of Trenbolone for the contest preps this last year with just a small microdose of psilocybin, like a subperceptible 0.125, and then I'll do that for a few days, and then I would do 5-HTP for a few days and kind of cycle back and forth there because you can't really take them both at once. But then I started taking methylene blue. So I stopped using the 5-HTP, but then wouldn't use methylene blue and psilocybin on the same day. And that seemed to really, you know, quiet down the brain noise, and I wouldn't get the fuck it so much on trend.
Well, you got to
Not
be
that this
careful with
channel is about psychedelics, but you know.
you got to be careful with methylene blue too, because it can cause dopamine depletion too.
Yeah. 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 That's why I was alternating. But, you know, I was also a meth head for 20 years. So, you know, I've already got some dopamine pathway issues that I have to work around, you know, from that. I'm sober 21 years, but there's still, you know, every once in a while I catch myself twitching a little bit. Like that stuff hangs out for sure. Josh wants to know how things are looking for me on EQ, if it's longer or more girthy. Thanks for your interest in my penis, Josh. It's a little weird, but I actually didn't have a whole lot of interest in it myself while on EQ. So Zionic, he's in week 10 of doing 600 and 400 milligrams test Deca cycle, and I think he's been killing it. He talks about it all the time, and he's feeling good and he's feeling strong. He's going into week 10. I wouldn't do anything different moving forward, man. As long as you're still responding to the dose well, and don't fix it if it ain't broken. You got anything to add to that, Coach Paul?
That is a big lesson that I can. I mean, I remember last year or when I was on my last contest prep, I won my pro card. I was asking for advice in our group chat about a cycle, and Roman said, "Are you making progress? Are you looking better each week?" And like, yeah. He goes, "Why would you change anything?" And his you could hear his German voice saying that. I'm like, well, that's a good point.
Forgotten Friend says, "What's up, Big Paul?"
So,
yeah, this is the one I was looking for earlier. Yes, the EQ issues I was having were definitely dose related, for sure. We already answered that question too. Horse electrolytes? I haven't heard of anything like that. Have you, Paul?
No, they use horse steroids, so why not?
use EQ. Why not?
Maybe that's what you need when you have EQ on deck. I gotta look this up. Horse electrolytes? The fuck is this? They come in a big tub. I want to see what the ingredients are in them.
It's called apple a day or orange a day, and it's cheap. Huh. Oh.
Here it is. Apple a day ingredients. Let's see what they are. It has calcium, salt, potassium, magnesium, zinc, iron, and copper. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I'm sure it tastes great.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds delicious. I like apples and oranges. Josh,
I would. I mean,
safe.
Horses have different physiology than humans. I'd be curious to see if the ratios of that stuff would be correct.
Yeah, because that's one of the animals we're genetically a lot different than, right? Like we're more like rats than we are like horses.
Yeah, we're very similar to rats and chimpanzees. That's why they use them for lab tests. Pigs too. Ironically, we're similar to pigs genetically. Yeah, I would be careful, especially with. I don't know. It's likely you're not going to cause problems, but they look like just straight normal minerals and stuff that you would use. Yeah. Bros like to do all kinds of weird shit. I'm sure they would eat dog food if they thought it was some sort of advantage.
Alpo for the gains. Food is the most anabolic thing you can put in your body, though. It's just if you're confused about that. So there's a new peptide called KP6. Is this one you're familiar with, Paul?
I've heard some things about it. I have not looked at it yet. I don't know. I really don't know much about it. There's so many peptides that come out. I start getting a little. I mean, I like peptides, but sometimes I get the eye roll when somebody brings up a new peptide to me.
Yeah,
although I rolled GLP-1s. I was really wrong about that one.
If I want to know anything about peptides, I just go listen to Dr. Travis Brockmeyer.
Don't tell Dr. Marv that.
No, I have my tongue planted firm in my cheek when I say that. I don't go to disgraced chiropractors for peptide advice. You can take a gamma test with no side effects, but I keep my body fat around 7%. Good job. My blood work is perfect. Is there any reason to add a different compound?
I mean, right now with the shortage of everything going on, I would just run. I really have thought about this, man. It's like, if you handle tests well, just run a bunch of fucking tests in GH.
Yeah. Well, Chase did the experiment, right? He got up to 20,000 total testosterone, running 5 grams a week or whatever it was. 5 grams a week, right?
Chase has evidently had a coming to Jesus moment or something. I saw he's coming off of everything and losing a bunch of weight.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't been watching any of his stuff since he moved to Rumble. I guess we'll see him in a few weeks here at the Arnold.
I've been replicating all my shit to Rumble, and I don't even check anything over there, man. It's like a tumbleweed on that platform. It's a shame because it is a good platform.
Well, yeah, and you can actually talk about stuff without worrying about getting banned.
Yep.
Let's see, got any more questions to go through here?
Yes, take horse stuff.
Electrolytes?
Electrolytes, horse steroids.
Yeah.
Just all the horse stuff.
What was the one that's supposed to cure COVID or whatever? The
ivermectin.
Ivermectin, yeah.
The dewormer.
Yeah.
Get rid of your parasites and COVID.
Zonic says, "Hey Paul, I've been using Suppressor Max dosed at 2 caps / 2 to 3 caps morning, midday, evening while gaining. Would you recommend running it more efficient or effective way than that?"
According to Justin, the suppressor max doesn't need to be broken up into doses. You can take it all in one dose, according to him. I guess the way that it's formulated now, it's a slower release formulation. I don't know. I usually just do one. If you're eating 6 meals, I just have my clients to take one with each meal.
Yeah, I have a hard time with remembering to do that. Taking something with each meal, and I just take it all in the morning. And because it's compounded with sodium caprate, it's supposed to be a time release thing. So I usually just take like 5 caps in the morning. Right now, I'm only taking it on high days, so
Well, I see my friend Big Pun. He had a question. Just put it up there, man. We'll talk about it before I hop off.
sorry, dude. We don't talk sources. Good way to end up in no man's land rumble like our homie Chase.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't find them these days,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. This is a thing called Google. Use it.
Progesterone 2.5 milligrams or 2.5. I don't know what that measurement is. Is that high? I know it's
I mean,
double the reference range.
if you're on a 19 NOR, it's going to show up as progesterone on blood work
Yeah.
because it is a synthetic progestin, so it's probably a false reading. I guess, did Pon get his question in? I don't see it.
I'm looking for it right now.
Here's guy asked about, would you consider 750 tests and 500 EQ a problematic cycle in terms of RBC? I'd be more worried about your estrogen getting fucking smashed.
Yeah.
Check your estradiol, man. It's funny, man. With EQ, it'll sneak up on you. You'll get about 6-8 weeks in, you feel okay, and then all of a sudden, guys are like, "Man, my joints hurt. I don't feel good." And I'll have them go get an estradiol test, and they're 5.
Here's one. Have you seen enalapril lower HCT, RBC, and HGB quite a bit? Would this be preferable rather than donating if you need ARB or ACE anyway?
I don't think it has that profound of an effect.
No. Yeah, and I almost went and donated this time just because I know that in the past when I've felt those sort of high red blood cell count side effects that donating had helped. But I stopped donating a long time ago because so many people are just saying, well, this just kind of really no need for it.
It's an ACE inhibitor. It's like I think telmisartan is probably an ARB is probably more effective than an ACE inhibitor.
Oh no, I was talking about donating blood.
Oh yeah, well I was thinking about his question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went and donated blood a couple weeks ago. My hemoglobin was up around 19.
Huh.
This is what a dummy I am, Mike. I've been running 100 or 300 milligrams of test and 150 of what I thought was primo for the last 8 weeks or so. And I realized the print is really small on my primo bottle, and I had my glasses on and actually looked at it, and it was equipoise. So I've actually been running equipoise.
Interesting.
And that's how much of a profound effect it had on my red blood cell and RBC or my hemoglobin. It was up that high.
Max Hughes says 450 grams of protein with 3 milligrams of Retta a week can confirm appetite and muscle are on the up. Thanks for the macros, Big Paul.
Yeah, Max is one of my clients. Oh, I see Pun has his question up there now.
Yeah, this is Tanya. You're right. this is the same trend I've seen with my clients too. And I don't know if you watched my video, the latest video I did on GLPs and disordered eating, but it's crazy.
Well, they don't lift weights. They don't eat any protein.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they lost muscle and look like shit.
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming that Tanya, she coaches more athletes like lifters, and
Yeah, I don't know.
then I coach more fat guys. So.
I'm like 50-50. Half bodybuilders, half regular people.
I'm trying to find the question that you're talking about.
It's right here.
Thomas Turner?
No, pun. It's thoughts on 200 test E, 25 milligrams daily of Proviron, 10 milligrams daily of Anavar, pre-workout Anavar, 2 units of GH nightly, Clo nightly, 2 milligrams of Motzi in the morning. I mean, I think that's pretty decent. I mean, 25 is a really low dose of Proviron. I think 50 is the minimum effective dose, if I remember right.
They always dose it at 25 milligrams, though, like when a tablet.
Yeah, but it's twice a day, if I remember.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Pretty short half-life, right? Like 8 hours or something.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is twice a day that you're supposed to run Proviron. Yeah, well, split. Yeah, here it is. This is directly from the pharmaceutical manufacturer. Typical dose, 50 milligrams a day, with 25 milligrams in the morning and 25 milligrams in the evening with food. Warning, can cause hair loss. There you go.
another DHT. Yeah.
This is Bayer's official website. 25 milligrams, 2 to 3 times daily.
Well, for pun 28, obviously the cost is not an issue in his stack since he's taking Clo and 2 milligrams of Mot C. I could put my kid through college on what I'd spend for that dose of Mot C. I'm wondering why he's got two orals in that cycle.
Well, Proviron is not. I would be worried with running Proviron side by side with Anavar for too long. You're going to absolutely smash your SHBG. Yeah. I mean, if you care about that, some bodybuilders don't really give a fuck, but because they want the highest level of free testosterone. But I probably would not run it side by side with Anavar because they're both going to lower SHBG.
Yeah, so that brought that up in the chat too.
Oh, did somebody else bring that up?
Yeah, Bun's just he just is this his first cycle? He just hopped on from natural.
Yeah, I probably convinced him to come over to the dark side. Sorry about that, dude.
Welcome to the dark side.
Pun lost like Jesus Christ, like 300 pounds, something like that. I had him on my podcast one time because I was just stunned with his weight loss. It was one of the most impressive weight losses I've ever seen.
Oh, is he? He's like he's a black guy from the South. Did I see that? I watched that.
Yeah,
video. Yeah, that's awesome. His story is great.
Yeah, 200 pounds. There we go. He lost.
Yeah, you're a rock star, bro.
Yeah, he's. I'm pulling him up. Yep. This is. If you go to his profile, it's Pun28S on Instagram. He's got some pretty crazy before and after pics. Now he's with the TRT clinic. Yeah, they'll prescribe you everything, man. they'll tell you need every fucking peptide known to man.
Yes.
Just go see our friend Ryan Root at Hormones for Me. He'll take care of you. Ryan knows what he's doing.
Wow. All right. I'm not so fast at screen sharing as
Oh, you don't have to worry
You
about it.
guys
But
are.
I was just, his weight loss is crazy.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out.
And Pun, just reach out to me, man. If you got questions, you know where to get me.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this guy. He went from geez. Look at that six pack.
Yeah.
Good work, man. Yeah,
Doesn't even
looking
look like
good.
doesn't even look like the same dude.
No. Now he's on a cycle, and you're not gonna be able to
First,
see this guy coming. You're gonna compete?
I remember talking to him after we did our interview, and I was telling him some stuff about PEDs. I think I tempted him to the dark side. Sorry, brother. I'm a bad influence. Don't listen to me.
Do the drugs. Do the drugs.
Testosterone makes everything better.
So going forward, man, I know we keep talking about, like, doing Masters Nationals again. I'm a little reluctant to like jump back on a national stage without having like some meaningful
do whatever makes you comfortable, man.
What's that?
We can do whatever makes you comfortable. We compete for ourselves, man. That's what I always tell people. I don't. The only thing I like about the national shows is that there's just the judging is good, and you're actually on stage with other people. When I was doing local Masters level stuff is like I'd show up and do a show, and there'd be like me and one other dude or three other guys, and that's kind of like,
yeah,
like I don't want to be out there with two people.
For that reason, I've always picked shows where I know they're going to be big shows, and I know there's going to be a field. Like when I did the Emerald Cup last year, on the stage with 6 Masters guys. That almost never happens at a local show. And
yeah,
I've always wanted to be on stage with competition.
But the competition's with yourself, man.
Yeah,
it's really, that's what matters. I know it's cliche and whatnot, but I've never really cared about how I placed.
Yeah,
I do and I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to embarrass myself, but at the same time, it's as long as I'm going out there and giving my A+ effort, and I've improved and done everything that I possibly can to be my best. That's all that matters to me.
Tanya, you're awesome. Yes, androgens are the nectar of the gods. Well, I think that's it, man. I don't see any real pointed questions that we didn't get to. Anything else you want to talk about or say, Paul, while we're on this thing?
That's it. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and hopping on my channel. Again, you can I'll leave in the comments below links to both mine and Paul's if you're not already following both of us. And we'll see everybody on the next one.